Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, much like what happened yesterday with the Melbourne Renegades, we are going through another really relevant team, in that of the Melbourne Stars. Obviously, a lot of people are choosing the likes of the Melbourne Stars because they have the round 1 and 3 doubles. I know that I'm going to be very much stocked up on them. I think currently, if I look quickly at my side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Melbourne Stars players at the moment, all on field to maximize the double. But I'm also worried that what we saw last year, and this is what I'll go through, is that a lot of those fringe players that people are trying to take advantage of, them having the double early, you kind of get stuck with them, potentially not actually making as much cash, etc. So that's why I've kind of actually gone and thought about, especially with the Hobart Hurricanes and teams like that, like maybe the Sydney Thunder, and thought maybe I can just stash one of the really underpriced guys that I expect to have a bounce back year and just stash them instead of spending the same amount of cash for a fringe guy from the Melbourne Stars. But anyway, let's jump into this video now. So Melbourne Stars, the big ticket item is Glenn Maxwell, 247k. 400. He scored 68 off 19 balls or something like that. 68 SuperCoach points, 43 runs off the bat off 19 balls for Australia last night in the 7-over game. And we also expect him to bowl as well. So when the Melbourne Stars play, you'll get to my lineup, etc. I have him and Webster, and also this is why I've sort of said don't stash up on these guys. Especially the Melbourne Stars, because they do have about 8 bowlers. We expect him to get 2 to 3 overs. I don't know if he'll regularly bowl his 4, just because he's not really set up to bowl regularly with the side there. But he's he's priced at 83-ish for a reason. He's an absolute star, and his last campaign there of 23-24 was an absolute outstanding campaign. The year before that didn't play. The year before that averaged 63. The year before that averaged 62, and the year before that averaged 64. The year before that 60, and the 2 years before that a 67. So as you see there, for anyone watching on YouTube, that would have seen me flicking between the tabs there. He's been outstanding. And for every single year, there's not really been a drop-off. There was just a massive gain there in the last year. I think I had him all throughout the year, just because I think he also started last year with a double in round 1. And at 60, he was very valuable, about that 180k, I think, range. And now he's priced at 80, so a little bit more expensive this year. But it's Glenn Maxwell. I think he's in... his ODI form wasn't the greatest, but I think his T20 form, when he just almost has one thought rather than multiple thoughts in the ODI format, it just is a lot better for him. I think also him bowling, he has a knack of taking wickets. If you look at his stats last year, we just go here quickly. We go down to the fancy points. You'll see he took 7 wickets last year, but also contributed 240 runs. The year before that didn't play. The year before that contributed 4 wickets. The year before that 7, and then I think 10 the year before that. So you could probably pencil him in, and 3 the year before that, and 1 the year before that. So I think you could probably pencil him in for probably a good 7 or so wickets, 6 or 7 wickets. He's probably going to take about 10 points worth of... He's probably, looking at this actually now, he's probably going to contribute about 10 points per game in the field. If we say he's going to take 6 or 7 wickets across the campaign, that's right there is already about 15 points or so, 14 to 15 points per game. So that's already 25 points per game in just wickets and catches. And then we forget that he's a batter that contributes about 40 points per game with the bat alone or so. So yeah, and that was off of, was that off about 8 games as well? So no, that would have been off 9 games. So 9 games, 9 catches, and he gets about a catch a game. He gets about 15 points. Yeah, so it's even more than what I just explained there. So I just think he is ultra value. And so yeah, he's going to be one that, when I say ultra value, I meant that he's going to put points on the board early, I think, massively. He just needs a 40 off 20 is very achievable for him. And then add a catch in there, and then add a wicket. And then suddenly that is probably, 35 points with the ball and a good 65 with the bat. So that's 100 points just right there with 40 off 20, a catch and a wicket. And that is 100 points just right there. So that is very, very achievable for him. So yeah, I just think that's what he'll do. Beau Webster, he's one that I think is going to play well. I'm just worried that he potentially doesn't play as well as some people expect. So he's one that I'm very worried. I'm very inclined to trade him out to Jamie Overton in round 2. That's probably what I'm going to do. Yes, he does have the double in round 3 as well, which is a concern. But obviously he's one that I'm willing to get rid of in round 2 for preparation for round 2 to get Jamie Overton. But if I find another scenario where I can get it, plus also get the cash generators in, that's what I'll do to get Jamie Overton. And then that'll mean that I can keep Beau Webster. Because if I can keep Beau Webster and get Jamie Overton in, I've effectively got the best 5 batters that you can get in the game. I would be having Maxwell, Short, Curran, Webster, and also Jamie Overton. Pretty much the best 5 batters that you can get. And then my bowling lineup would be whatever it is. I can flip those guys around. But if I can keep Beau Webster, But Beau Webster is the one that I'm a little bit concerned about in this, which we'll get to in a second. Tom Curran, he's shown in the past that he can score. He has that perfect type of role or archetype for the role. He's averaged 40 in the past, but I think he's one that could go 60s. We've seen in 2019-20 at the Sixers, he averaged 71 and 73. I just don't think he's had a decent enough run. 4 games in 21-22 and then 4 games in 23-24. He probably gets 5 or 6 games this year, so hopefully, I don't know exactly what his schedule is. Let me just check here. Not that. Bookmarks probably is the best way to go. Bookmarks here, let's just check. Australia, India, English Lions will be released for BBL, which is good. Given that that's fine. New Zealand, we're looking for Tom Curran. 1 second here, nope, nothing there. And then you've got also Mir, unlikely. Nope. And then Tom Curran will go after BBL, so he's free to play the whole BBL, which is good. But we may see him also leave later on in the BBL, so just be careful about that in particular. Then we go back to here. Ben Duckett, I think he's missing the first little bit as we just go back here quickly to the New Zealand test matches. Yep. Selected Pope, Duckett, Bethel. So they're all going to be unavailable. That ends on the 18th to the 22nd? If we go to England versus, was it New Zealand test matches? Or is it England versus New Zealand tests? There we go. Quickly just looking this up again. The 18th it ends on. That means that the earliest he could fly back is the 19th. So he might get involved on the 20th. But if we look at their schedule again quickly here, when do they play? They play on the 18th, so he's not going to be available for the first game, Will Duckett. So they also play, I think, early on do they play on the 20th? They play on the 20th at 7:15. That would be a struggle to see him play. He'd almost have to play off the plane, and I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll give him that break there. So I don't see him playing until after Christmas, but that would be a tight one for Duckett. But that could mean he basically would replace either Rogers or Harper. Whoever's probably out of form is probably who he replaces. Sam Amir, there's been some sort of contention about whether he'd be available or not to start. He didn't get picked in the latest for the Australian T20s. For Pakistan's games against Australia. As we saw last night, he wasn't in that squad, but they expect him to be selected in their next series, which coincides, if we go back to here, back to the Pakistan's I keep on typing the J instead. Here we go. Their schedule, their T20s, they have coming up. You'll see here against South Africa. The 15th is the T20s there, but he also has ODI cricket that he could be involved in as well.
And if he is involved in the T20s, that's the 15th. He wouldn't get there till like the 17th or 18th. So there'll also be contention about whether he'd actually start in the second game of their game. So we'd have to watch there in case he's involved in this here, which is a possibility there. Cartwright, he's been bowling a little bit for WA. Could he get involved with the ball a little bit? That would make him more valuable, but I still think he's way behind in the other rotations. Tom Rogers, no go for me. He's a possibility to be the one that gets dropped if Harper performs really, really well. And he did perform really well for Victoria compared to Tom Rogers, who scored 1. So there is a contention there. Brody Couch had a hat-trick for WA. Could potentially play. 85k, price about 28, 29. I just might play. I think he's in my rotation to start. But then again, they might go with the spare batter. And I think he might be the one that drops out. Scotty Boland will be probably with Australia for the whole time, so I don't expect him to play, to be honest with you. I don't think they should be releasing BBL players to play BBL because the concussion rule, meaning that there's concussion substitutes. I don't think they want to have almost a non-shield or a shield-only player. It's the guys talking like Whiteman or someone like that else replacing them in case they if there's a concussion early on, etc. in a game. Stoinis, he's an interesting one. We'll get to him more when I reveal the predicted 11. I just don't think he gets a good role, as simple as that. Steckity, 53 break even. I'm just intrigued if he necessarily plays both games or whatnot, so he's a watch there. Paris, 72k. I think he's one that could gain cash quickly, but I'm also intrigued to see if he plays both games or whatnot, or is lined up to play. He's one that I'm like, this could be iffy. Mackenzie, 46 break even, 45 projected, 69k. If Osama Mir's selected for Pakistan and all their limited overs squads, then I think Hamish Mackenzie is a go, because they basically would have Maxwell and that's it for spinners, and I think they want a frontline spinner, and Mackenzie's been bowling well in the 2-day stuff for club, so, and he's also been batting alright, so I think he might get that 8 or 9 slot as well, which could be valuable. Harper, he's played really well for Victoria. If I can get down to him here, 1 second. He's been playing really well for Victoria. Had that 59 or 52, I think it was, which would have accounted for, I think in the end, he took a catch and a stumping as well. So that was 25 plus 59 plus 10. That's 35 plus 59. That is a 94. If he gets a 94, he rockets up. And I'm telling you, he rockets up with a break even of 39. It has him 6.3 down for a 26 gap in his break even. If we just do that quickly, that is a jump of 1. Missing his break even by 1 would be a loss of 242. So if we say that he was to score a 94 across the 2 games, he would beat his break even by 55. Times that by 55 here, and he'd go up 13k. 13k for Sam Harper's already 70k. Then he'd have another game to play. Say he somehow made a 150. If he somehow made a 150, give or take, he would go up around about 26k. If he made a 150, 26k, that would put him at 84k. You could almost you could wait a little bit to see if he stays in. But if he did, then he'd make massive cash with such a negative break even. But you'd suddenly be able to make ground about 40 or 50k on those people who started Doran, and you'd have about the same use anyway. So that's why I'm saying that Sam Harper is pretty much starting him on field is a little bit risky, but starting him on the bench is probably not risky at all, and that's why I'd probably be doing that. Callaway and Warren I don't expect to play. Now we go to the predicted 11. Here you can see the schedule here for them. They've got Scorchers Heat round 1, Strikers round 2, Sixers Strikers round 3. Round 3 also, as you see here, it has Sixers and also the Heat on the double. So Sixers have both teams on the double, as well as Melbourne Stars have 1 team and Heat have 2. One team as well, sorry. So you've got 4 out of the 6 games are between doubles. So that is a little bit worrying about that round 3 double, that it's probably not going to be as point scoring heavy as much, because there is, I think, 1 less game compared to, there's the same amount of games, I think, as all these other 2-team double games. So, yeah, that's a little bit concerning there. for that front. Let's just go to the Stars here. This is the predicted order that I have to start. I'm predicting that Mir gets called up and isn't available. Duckett, we know, isn't available. So I expect these two to miss round 1 in its entirety and then come back for round 2. Maybe miss round 2 as well and come back round 3. So that is a watch for these guys. If they are back round 3, Mir's probably going to be a guy that I go for in round 3. I had him last year and he did all right. And I just think he's the bowling type of all-rounder that will slot in probably at that 8 role that I have. Mackenzie, you can disregard basically, oopsie, nope, don't want that. You can disregard Paris, Couch, and Steckity order pretty much. I just slotted them in there. They're all bowlers. They're all low enough in the order that it won't matter too much where they are positioned. So I have Harper and Rogers opening the batting. I think they're the only real 2 openers that they have there, except for Stoinis, but I expect Stoinis to bat about 5. He's been doing that for Australia. I expect him to do something similar. Webster, I have batting 3, which is a really good slot. Maxwell's 4 is also a really good slot. Then I have Cartwright at 6. I think that's also where he's going to play as well. He's done that in the past as well. Curran 7, I think this is a really good slot for him as well. He's batted 8 before and some other positions. He bats about 6 or 5. He bats about 4 for Surrey or 5 for Surrey, which shows that he does score really well in the county game. But then again, you probably have to whop about 5 or 10 points off just because he's batting 3 places lower. But I still think he's a really, really primed asset. And at 152k, you're risking a way too much, especially for him in the batter's slot. And you'll see when I go through my team reveal like 3.0, I'll probably put a focus on this or just do the problem with the batter slot, or at least the problem I have with the batter slot video about that. Curran is just almost a must-have because of that. Mackenzie, really cheap. You can see the bowling options are really cheap, mostly because Curran, Webster and Maxwell take up a lot of the price in this team. And you have Duckett and Mir missing, which, as I said, Boland, I don't expect him to get released, at least in the early part. Warren, he is what it is. And also with Boland, he's not going to be released early either, which means he's not going to play round 1 anyway, because the test match is the 22nd, I believe. The 22nd of December. Sorry, I keep on getting November and December confused. If we go that the first game is on the 15th, Oz test schedule, let's just check it. So they have a game 14th to the 18th. Does he get released in that game? Where are they playing? They are playing at, is this the Gabba? Yep, the Gabba. Maybe he is playing, maybe. Boland could actually be playing that if Stark wants to play at the MCG for Boxing Day and the SCG, he may go 2, take a break, 2 again. But then also they might play Boland in this game anyway. So if they do, I expect them to play Boland in one of these 2 games. And you'll see with the schedule, let me just show you. The round 1 is the 15th to the 19th. If we go here, 15th to the 19th, that's covering this game. If we go and look at round 3, which is their other double, it is the 26th to the 29th, which is basically covering this game. So Boland is not going to be available for one of these games because I don't expect Stark to play all of the test matches or Hazelwood to play all of the test matches. And I think they want to play on their home deck at the SCG. So I expect Boland to play one of these games. I expect it's most likely going to be the this game here. So that will line up with him not being available in this scenario. But I've also just flagged it in overall sense that he's not going to play. Warren and then Callaway round out the side there. So that pretty much is the video again around that 19 to 20 minute mark yet again. But if you did enjoy that video on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And those listening on Spotify, remember to give me a follow so that you know when I upload on there. So I'll see you guys in the next recap, which will be also the preview, I should say, which will be the Perth Scorchers tomorrow on the Saturday. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.